going to do tonight is we're going to talk a little bit about what the show is about and why it's called The Lawyer, the Lion, and the Laundry. And in the show, we're going to be interviewing lawyers and other professionals and talking about how they are able to have successful careers but still enjoy their personal lives. And for our show tonight, I've invited two guests. Our first guest is Devyn Mills.
Hello.
Hi, Devyn.
Hi.
Devyn is a lawyer also at Berlandi, Nussbaum and Reitzes, which is where I am a lawyer at BNR, we call it. I sit in our Pauling office here, and Devyn sits in our White Plains office. And the other guest that I've asked to join me tonight is the lovely Sarah Spannhake.
Hello.
Sarah is my daughter, and she is 9 years old. And she might be able to help us talk about how her mother is successful or not at balancing career and family. So we'll have her contribute to our conversation as well. So I think the first thing that we're going to talk about is the lawyer portion. So I've written a book. It's called The Lawyer, the Lion, and the Laundry. And the lawyer explores your professional life and what you do in your career.
And so, of course, that means this doesn't just apply to lawyers, right?
Exactly. The reason it's the lawyer is because I wrote the book and I am a lawyer.
And
but
it works so well with the Lion and the Laundry.
It does.
Alliteration.
It does. And I have my friend Brianna Ball to thank for the title. She's a wonderful designer friend of mine who came up with the title. So thank you. Shout out to Brianna. So Devyn and I were talking a little bit before we came on the air about how as lawyers, and this is probably true for lots of professionals, that your work could just go on forever. There's never a time where you're completely caught up and you're ready to go home for the day, knowing that there's nothing else that needs to be done.
And it's something that certainly gets ingrained in you kind of from the beginning, because the more you work, the more work you have to do. But at the same time, when you're just starting out working, for most young people, you have a lot less to do. And the longer that you're working, the longer you're living, the more things that eventually get added onto your plate, whether it's family, kids, and things like that, or your social life, your social circles, which are things that we will follow through once we get to the Lion and the Laundry. But it's great to be able to kind of recognize how everybody goes through this kind of transition.
That's right. That's right. That's absolutely right. There's lots of different transition points. And I should point out for people that can't see us that I am, what did you say last week? A seasoned attorney. So I'm a partner in the law firm, and I've been practicing law for 15 or 16 years. And Devyn is a younger attorney in our office. He's been practicing law since...
I am just starting my 5th year.
5th year, right. So the way our career is presently is slightly different, but similar in the sense that we still have all of these professional obligations to meet all the time. And our personal lives are also different in that we have different obligations personally, but still trying to balance all of that together. There's one of the things I talk about in the book, and you're alluding to this a little bit in what you were saying, Devyn, about how sort of when you're good at something, you get more of it to do. So you want to be good at your work, but the more you do it well,
you become that go-to person.
You become that person that everyone knows that can depend on you. And in 2008, I guess it was, so that's 10, 11 years ago now at this point, I was working at a law firm in the city. So before I was here with Berlandy, Nussbaum, and Wright says,
before BNR even existed, in fact.
yeah, probably, that's right. I was in the city working at a firm there, and I was on what's called partnership track, which is what everyone in a big law firm wants. At least that's what you're supposed to want, is to make partner in this big law firm in the city. And there's a lot of pressure to do that. And, I was on that track, and I heard a story or an analogy one day that sort of flipped the switch for me about, do I really want to do this? Made me consider, do I really want to do it? And it was that making partner in a large Manhattan law firm is like winning a pie eating contest where the prize is more pie. And I thought, right, like if this is not working for me as a more junior person, it's really not going to be working for me as a more senior person, because I'm going to be even more enmeshed in it. And for me, the analogy was even worse. It was that, winning this pie eating contest is like winning more pie, but I don't even like pie, so I had to really think about what's important to me and what are my values. And I'm happy to say that now at BNR, we have attorneys who are great at what they do, and we all work really hard, but they also have interests outside of the law, and that everyone has a family or interests outside of the law, which I think is really important because it makes you a better person and a more well-rounded person, which I think helps you serve clients more.
Yeah, and I feel like we are able to pull from all of those, pull from different experiences that you don't have inside of the courtroom or inside of the negotiating room, or something along those lines. You get experiences from outside that you can apply in, but at the same time, you also get to speak to a lot more people by having different interests outside of just law. We're not sitting around just talking to lawyers all day long, and that's really beneficial for us individually as people, but also as lawyers, because it makes us see things from a lot of different angles. You can't just think of it in your little lawyer bubble. You have to think about how the things I'm going to do as, whether it's a corporate attorney drafting a contract, or whether it's, representing a client in a lawsuit where you're in front of a judge, you have to think about how different types of people will understand the different things that you're doing, and having different experiences and interests has really helped with that.
I agree with that. And because so many of our clients are businesses, so it's really helpful for us to have experience broad so that we can really help clients from a business standpoint, not just from a legal standpoint. All right, I think that we're going to take a short break. This is Jamie Jackson Spannhake for The Lawyer, the Lion, and the Laundry here on Pauling Public Radio, and we'll be back shortly.
Just keep this going for like 30 seconds or so.
Yeah.
It's great. When you come back and reintroduce your guest.
Yeah.
Great. No, it's very engaging. Oh, yeah.
Are we talking about what we're supposed to be talking about?
Okay. If you're just joining us, this is Jamie Jackson Spannhake on Pauling Public Radio. We're streaming live from the Rush Studios at 26 East Main Street in Pauling, and you can listen live at TuneIn Radio. I am here with my guest, Devyn Mills, and hello, thanks for joining us, Devyn, and my guest, Sarah Spannhake.
Hello.
She is my daughter. And we were just discussing what it is like to be a professional with almost overwhelming sometimes obligations at work. And we talked a little bit about how being clear on our values is helpful so that we can understand our priorities and make good decisions. And I think the next thing that would be good to talk about would be the lion. Because my book is called The Lawyer, the Lion, and the Laundry, as is this show. And everyone always says, well, what is the lion?
The lion is the only one that's not self-evident, so we'd love to hear about what the lion is.
Okay, so I'll tell you a little story that's in the book that will help you understand what the lion is about. And Sarah, maybe you can help me after I tell this story to talk about the benefits of this lion, okay? All right, so in meditation, there is a story about a lion versus a dog. So you imagine that you're in a room and you have a bone and you're waving this bone around and you have a dog in the room with you. You have a dog.
I do have a dog.
I have 2 dogs. And you're waving this bone around and the dog is following the bone. Like you go to the left, the dog's head follows the bone. You move the bone to the right, the dog's head follows the bone. You throw the bone into the corner. The dog goes and gets the bone. It's like it doesn't have any choice.
Definitely runs into the
Just goes into the corner. So now imagine that you're in the same room with the same bone, but there's a lion in the room with you.
Yikes.
And you move the bone, and the lion, might notice the bone, but he's really focused on you.
Mm-hmm.
And you move the bone a different direction, and he might move his head, but really focus on you. And you throw the bone into the corner, and the lion might look at the corner, but probably does not run to get the bone. He's really focused on you. So the idea is the bone is your thoughts. And you want to be more like a lion than a dog because you want to be able to not let your thoughts carry you away to a place that you don't want to go.
Interesting.
Yes. So the lion is about meditation and mindfulness.
Okay.
Now in school, Sarah goes to Washington Montessori. We love Montessori. And there's one portion of your room that I think you've said in the past is your favorite. What is that part of the room?
The silent area.
Uh-huh. And what do you do in the silent area?
Well, you can do lots of work, but you have to do it silently. And it's just a very vulnerable area because you're not getting distracted by your friends talking to you. Or you can just do your work and if it's really important, you're allowed to whisper, because if you're like actually doing a work with someone, like today I was doing imaginary island with Hollis, so I had to.
You had to talk to her about the work even though you were in the silent area. Yeah, so in her school, they teach mindfulness. And it's a way for children in her school and for people, and this is why I talk about it in my book, to find a comfortable place to reset so that it's like a little vacation for your brain.
And why do you think it's so important to have this vacation for your brain?
Because we all have this internal monologue going in our heads all the time. And a lot of times that internal monologue is not particularly nice or helpful.
That's
like,
definitely true.
if someone else said to you the things that you say to yourself in your head, you would not stand for it.
That's true.
But you will say it to yourself and be okay
Yeah,
with that.
our own worst
And believe it.
Yes.
And believe it. That's another thing. And this is something that I tell Sarah sometimes, and we joke about it. But I'll say it the way that is the proper way, and then I'll say it the funny way. The proper way is just because you believe it doesn't make it true.
Okay. And
Now,
what's the funny way?
The funny way is you can believe that if you want to be wrong.
Who came up with that way to say it?
That would be me.
Not me.
Yeah. So, there's so many scientific studies, not just, word of mouth or whatever, but actual science now that we know more about the brain with MRI of the brain imaging and that sort of thing, that mindfulness and meditation in particular really is so important for managing anxiety, for helping our memory, for being the person that we want to be. You know, we show up for our families and maybe we're very stressed or anxious from the workday, but like taking 10 minutes for meditation, maybe after work or before work or wherever it fits into your day, can really help us be present in the moment and act in life instead of react to what happens to us.
And how would you say mindfulness has helped you within your work as well?
Well, I suffer from anxiety. So, what?
So do I.
Yeah, it's a hereditary thing. So for me, meditating every day and also running and yoga, like those are also two things that I do.
And that can be anything, right?
It
Any
could
type
be
of
anything for
outlet that
anyone. It
someone
could be
has,
listening
yeah.
to music. It could be walking in the woods. It could be cooking, like whatever it is that helps you be mindful.
Mhm.
Do that. But it really helps me think more clearly, and it just brings down the level of action before thought, so that when I do act or speak, it's in a more thoughtful way. It's less likely to fly off the handle because you're angry about something, or make a bad decision because you made it too quickly.
And that's something I think I've definitely always, Jamie and I have known each other for 4 years now, and I've dealt with, being a lawyer. I see lawyers all the time. Every time you're in court, every time you're in a deal, there's always someone across the table from you. I'm talking to, tens of lawyers a day. Sometimes it feels like, people who are, that you work with, people who are on the other side, people who have similar things as you. And one thing that I have always noticed about Jamie, and something I've aspired to be like within my career and outside of it, is being thoughtful in the types of answers that you're giving, because not only does it instill a client confidence, but it makes you better able to explain things to not only your coworkers, but your clients and your adversaries and things like that.
Yeah, there's such a pressure in the legal industry, but probably in many industries, to act now. But we do have to remember to be mindful. So let's take a short break.
Okay.
This is Jamie Jackson Spannhake for The Lawyer, the Lion, and the Laundry here on Pauling Public Radio, and we'll be back shortly.
So you've been doing this all your life, and you didn't tell me this.
Well,
This is like a seasoned show, for heaven's sake.
your guidance last week was helpful. Really helpful.
I don't remember what I said. I would have to get off book and pull up on just talk. It's a great conversation.
Yes.
That's great.
If you're just joining us, this is Jamie Jackson Spannhake on Pauling Public Radio. We are streaming live from the Rush Studios at 26 East Main Street in Pauling, New York. You can listen live at TuneIn Radio and at www.paulingpublicradio.org and at thebeatofthevalley.com. We are here in the studios with our guest Devyn Mills
Hello.
and Sarah Spannhake.
Hello.
And our show tonight is sponsored by Berlanti, Nussbaum & Reitzes, a law firm here in Pauling, also in White Plains and in New York City. And Devyn and I are both lawyers at Berlanti, Nussbaum & Reitzes. So we were just discussing the lion mind and how mindfulness and meditation are so important.
Which is the second step in our Lawyer, Lion, and Laundry.
Exactly, which is also the title of my new book. And now, let's talk about the laundry.
Now, is this just laundry? Because I have like 5 loads of laundry that I need to do when I get
This
home.
is everything else. So, Sarah is part of my laundry.
I'm clothes.
She's the most important part of my laundry. But yeah, no, the laundry is your laundry list of everything else that you need to get done. And so part of the book is about mind management, which we've talked about a little bit. It's what I call mind management. So it's mindfulness and meditation.
And we've talked about how that can help you personally and then also within your work.
Yes. And just to digress for one moment, sometimes I say to people, if you can't find time for yourself to have a meditation practice, then do it for someone that you love.
Oh,
Because they will benefit from it. It won't just be for you.
that's great advice.
Yeah. Because we can often do things for other people that we wouldn't do for ourselves. So think of it that way. But back to the laundry. So part of the book is about mind management. So we talked about mindfulness and meditation, and also being clear on your values so you know what you want, so that the choices that you make are in line with what you want for your life. And then there's time management, which is sort of the laundry portion. These are the obligations and the responsibilities that you love, like I love Sarah, but I have an obligation to take care of her because I'm her mother. And I want to take care of her, but it's not something that I could just decide not to do, at
And
least.
I want her to take care of me.
Thank you, thank you. So there are 2 chapters in the book about time management. And I think that the primary things that one needs to do for effective time management is to be organized. And that means having your space organized and also having your time organized. And I don't go into that much detail in the book about organization because
everyone has their own
everyone
way of
knows
doing
their
it.
own
Yeah.
way of how to get organized. But when you are organized in your space, you have everything that you need within your reach, whatever that means to you, to be successful. So you're not constantly wasting time finding the resources and the tools that you need to be successful. And then having your time organized is your calendaring system or your to-do list. I don't like to-do lists. I think that's
I love to-do lists.
yeah, it's because you like to check things off
Yeah, I
of
do.
your to-do list. That's why I don't like to-do lists. Because they can misguide us and we feel productive and we're not doing the things that would really make us feel
Like when you add
good.
something to your to-do list that
Just
you've
so
already
you
done,
can
so
check
you
it
can
off. Yes, we've
Yeah.
all done that. I do that. I think everyone does, especially us type A lawyer, like perfection people. But being organized with your time is also really important. The other really, really important thing for time management purposes, and a lot of people have, I think, trouble with this one, is asking for help.
Mhm.
So when you have a lovely child or a dog, or a dog or whatever, there are people that can help you, and people like to help you. You have to remember.
Grandparents, neighbors.
You have to
friends.
remember that it's not just helping you. People like to be needed.
Yeah.
Exactly, and they want to help. So you're almost giving them a gift of the opportunity to help, and you are getting the gift of being helped. So it's a two-way street. So I use things like a house cleaner
Mhm.
because I don't want to take my time to clean the house. I'd rather be doing something else.
Mhm.
I use Stitch Fix for shopping for clothes because I don't like to go shopping for clothes.
Mhm.
I do all of my shopping online, most of it. But anyway, the point is there are lots of resources for help if you just ask for it.
Yeah, and
So-
that's one of the great things about just social media and the internet and everything is that there are lots of different places you can go for that help. Groups, things like that you can find on Facebook or Nextdoor and things like that.
That's
There
right.
are always people you can ask for help that will help you spend less time on your laundry.
That's right. That's exactly right. Sarah, do you have anything to add as a member of my laundry list? How am I doing? Am I doing okay?
Sure.
Has she gotten better since the yoga retreat that she talks about in her book that led to all of this?
Yes.
Okay, good. All right, well, this has been really fun. I want to thank Devyn Mills and Sarah Spannhake for joining us tonight.
Thanks for having us.
Yeah, this is Jamie Jackson Spannhake. You've been listening to The Lawyer, the Lion, and the Laundry on Pauling Public Radio, sponsored by the law firm of Berlandi, Nussbaum, and Reitzes, located here in Pauling. You can listen live at TuneIn Radio, at paulingpublicradio.org, and thebeatofthevalley.com.
Bye.
Bye. And I forgot to mention it on the show, but if you're interested in the book, you can get it at my website, which is jamiespannhake.com. Or if you just Google Lawyer, Lion, Laundry, my website will come right up. Okay? Thanks so much. Oh, Sarah wants to say hi and bye. Bye.